Is the industry doing the right thing here?
I don't think that that's true. I don't think they are fighting a tooth and nail. I don't know who's saying that. You know, I think we have all the regulations. What we need is application of the regulations and better trained people to apply those regulations. You know, and maybe around the edges. Yes, we could use some more regulation. But, you know, I mean, look at the Madoff situation with the SEC. As an example, they had the tools to catch that.
Let's bring Rick into the conversation.
The poster child.
Yes.
The poster child for no more regulation.
Is he? Is that what you're calling Santelli?
No, Madoff. Madoff, sorry. Madoff is the poster child.
Let's assume he is Rick, I assume he is talking about you.
Rick, don't take the bait. There's plenty to argue about. Don't take that false bait from Joe, okay?
I don't argue. I just try to put some light on the other side of opinions and maybe show that there are two sides to every story. I think this one-year anniversary is great, but I think it's great for another reason. I think someday we'll learn that we didn't need to do very much, that time heals all wounds, and you don't have to go broke in the process.
We just had a guy here from the street
who you had.
Dramatically disagrees with you, Rick.
Good, who cares? The whole government probably disagrees, the Treasury disagrees, but we can't audit them. I still don't know the breadth, size, and dollar amounts of toxic derivatives. Sham, irresponsible, it's horrible.
So
I mean, where have we come?
It would have been okay.
We fixed all the banks and people still can't get loans. Okay, I'm done. Now you can give me all the propaganda.
No, not propaganda, Rick. It's you're saying it's okay that no banks would trade with each other. What we just had somebody say here.
You know what? I don't think they were worth saving, Joe and Steve. What did we save? What do we know today? Steve, how much the city, who has $301 billion of guarantees, how many toxic derivatives do they have, buddy?
I don't know the answer to that. We know that there's some hundreds of...
Geithner.
We know there's several hundreds of billions that are guaranteed by the government, and the thinking was that if Citigroup went down, the entire financial system would have...
just like if Lehman went down, the sun didn't come up. Guess what? It's come up 366 days in a row.
66. Interesting number. Rick, I just want to be clear. So what you're saying is it would have been okay to have the whole thing freeze up, to not have any banks fund or collateralize or otherwise repo with all the other banks. Your markets would have been okay.
What I said is most of what they did was the same thing. It was papering up a situation in the darkest of times where they're going to claim that the credit crisis is fixed and over, as the current administration does many times.
I don't think they're doing that, Rick. If you heard what Geithner said the other night, he thinks we're a long way from mission accomplished, Rick.
What did you hear?
Did you wake up on a... Do you have a bad weekend, Rick?
Monday.
No, not a... You know what? I did have a bad weekend.
Why?
You know why I had a bad weekend?
Chicago lost.
Because it's 1 year ago today. I could see that the philosophical issues of those who lead us isn't in lockstep with those who put them there, and probably that will change.
Rick, were you in Washington at some of the demonstrations this weekend on Saturday?
What demonstrations? I watched network news. I didn't see any. What demonstrations are you talking about?
The one in Minneapolis where they had 1,400 people. That's the one that was...
that one. I heard there was 300 protesters outside, too. I didn't see them on the news. Did you?
So I guess you weren't there. Okay, Steve. Rick, it's good seeing you as always. You're a pleasure to chat with.
Yes, yes.
I liked it.
Joe, is there any other... I mean, look, let's say I just wipe out everything I've said before. I know we got to go. Is there anybody else who says we should have just let it drop and fall? Am I missing anybody?
The
liquidationists.
Yes.
The Journal doesn't say that this morning.
The Journal says
system, the whole system? That's, I think, the Journal says this morning they should clarify. Yes. They don't say they shouldn't have done it. The Journal editorial page.
I don't think like you said, that's not necessarily what it was saying. It was saying that there were many things that probably shouldn't have been done.
Okay.
Right? I mean, and it is possible if you just did the FDIC.
I want to be open-minded.
What if you just did the FDIC guarantee of deposits? What if you did it? If you did that in the commercial paper? What if that's and you didn't?
You
save
still don't have banks lending to each other. The whole fractional banking system is one where you don't have to have the same amount of money on hand that you have to lend. Right? You borrow the reserves.
The idea of just letting the system find its own level is a risk that the world couldn't afford to take. Right. So, I mean, it's silly to even talk about it.
John Hartward's going to sit down with the president later on today. You can catch their conversation and a lot more tonight. A CNBC special presentation 1 year later, the week that shook the world, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern here on CNBC.